Yes, so we are back now talking about Switch to third-party launch titles and titles that might launch in 2025. So we talked about first-party titles in our previous video, so today we'll talk about third-party. So we'll get you to start off with your Monster Hunter Wilds, because I know you're itching to talk about that. So that comes out February 28th.
Yes, February 28th this year, 2025. It looks glorious. It looks like peak gaming back once more.
You absolutely rinsed Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch.
Yes, I did 100% every single fight. Yeah, through hands. Great game.
I can never get into Monster Hunter games. I might give it another go, but it's just something about the mechanics. I just find it clunky, so it doesn't resonate with me. But that's neither here nor there. So what are you thinking then? So late port to the Switch, obviously, because Capcom has actually been a very good supporter of the Switch in its generation.
Yeah, I mean, there's those fighting game collections as well.
Yeah. But that Monster Hunter Rise exclusive for the Switch, and they were there day one with the Street Fighter 2. I can't remember what the name of the title was. But they've been a pretty good supporter of the Switch, considering.
Yeah.
Compared to other Japanese third parties who were a bit slow to jump on, and then realised that the train had left the station.
Yeah, the gravy train.
The bullet train had left the station a long time ago, and they're like, "Oh, let's get these ports on there," a bit late. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, I can see it coming and see it selling absolutely ridiculous, because especially in Japan, they love to game on the go.
It's a no-brainer. It's such a no-brainer, because Monster Hunter Rise sold really well.
Yeah,
and it was quite well liked, especially that DLC Sunbreak was really popular, and it's such an obvious choice. It's almost insane that it's not going to be released at launch. I mean, obviously it can't, because the Switch 2 comes out after. So if it does appear as an immediate port to Switch, and it was just the case that they released it for everyone else while in February, and then release this for Switch, that would be really good. But I'm not hopeful. I think it will come out in a little bit after the release.
Oh, you don't think it'll be launched? It'll be a little bit after. You don't think
I want it to be launched.
You don't think Capcom's had the dev kits for a while, and because Capcom would be, I think, a very highly trusted partner for Nintendo, so they're probably somebody who they know is not going to leak stuff, and have given and said, look, if you can get this ready for launch, that'd be great. But 50-50.
I think it's 50-50. I both of them make sense. Both of them are entirely reasonable. It's just a case of which is which. And even if it's not day one, what could be 2 months, 3 months after, it could. I still expect it to be soon. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And then I think sticking with Capcom, because that RE engine is so versatile, I'm expecting a full flood of those RE remake games appearing on the Switch too.
Guaranteed.
What RE? I don't think they never did a remake of the first RE, did they? I think they did RE2, RE3, 4. I think those are the only remakes we've had so far.
In terms of recent ones that have been popular, I think that's right. Yeah. And obviously RE4 is the one where everyone goes crazy for it, and that's a very, very, very strong choice. If they ported that, people would just genuinely buy it.
Of course. Again, I mean, RE4 itself, that game has been re-released on so many platforms and has been sold so many times, and it would be quite good, because of course that debuted on the GameCube actually, and that was when that came out on the GameCube, that was mind blown, because the graphics were absolutely insane, because the GameCube was not vastly, but it was definitely graphically superior to the PS2 at that time. So it'd be quite interesting to see all those Capcom ports coming to the Switch. I mean, they could do a Resident Evil collection, say the remake ones, but knowing Capcom, they'll release them separately. But I guess we'll see stuff like RE7 on there, Village as well. Yeah, so I suspect we're going to get all of those being ported to the Switch, all those RE games. I think Street Fighter 6 is going to be there as well.
Yeah, that's a ridiculously obvious choice.
That's a no-brainer.
And it's not that hard to port 2D fighting games.
I think that's going to be there. So I think that's going to be Capcom support there. So I reckon Monster Hunter in the first year, Street Fighter 6 maybe at launch would be a simple one to go with launch. And they have a track record of launching fighting games with Nintendo consoles. And I suspect the RE games will come at some point as well. And then any of the other ones that have been released, maybe a Dragon's Dogma 2 might appear there as well.
Yeah, it could do.
Is that there?
At launch, specifically, you're saying?
Yeah. And you think... Yeah, I think something like a Dragon's Dogma 2 and maybe Street Fighter 6 at launch, and then the Resident Evil games over time will get them ported to the Switch too.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
And then any other third parties on your list? I mean, I've got a whole bunch of mine.
Yeah, you made a list of what you think's
I've
likely.
got Doom Dark Ages definitely gonna come because I think it's releasing this year at some point. I suspect that's gonna get ported to the Switch too. They may get people like Panic Button and Virtual. It could very well be a launch title because we got Doom 2016 with the Switch launch. So it could very well be a launch title, assuming we haven't got a date on Doom Dark Ages yet, but assuming it comes out after the Switch 2 launches. Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, no, if we don't get a launch, yes, it can't really be launched if you're thinking. I suspect then, at some point in the year, then we'll get Doom Dark Ages because we haven't actually.
Some point this year.
Yeah, because we haven't actually got a release date for it yet. So at some point, I reckon we'll get a port to the Switch 2.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Oh, we'll get back to Doom Dark Age at some point. Elden Ring.
I feel like Nintendo Switch established itself as a proper RPG console between all the first party stuff with like Xenoblade obviously and all the third party support that it got with games like RPGs like Enter the Gungeon. Dead Cells had a huge Switch player base, including me. So I think Elden Ring would be very much at home. Like if in Switch 2 they kind of broaden the horizon of JRPGs and indie RPGs and go for the full trifecta of Western RPGs, JRPGs and indie RPGs. I think it's a logical next step. I think it would be a good move. I could see it. I definitely think there'll be a market for Elden Ring on the Switch too. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if From Software managed to port that across. Thank God they're not getting bought by Sony. Oh my lord, that was a scary one. What they would make like Elden Ring live service or something.
Thankfully, Sony doesn't have enough money to buy that, which is fantastic. Let's talk about the silly rumors that came across because I laughed when I first heard it. Now we know Microsoft is a great supporter of the Nintendo Switch current platform, and we can assume that relationship's going to go forward. But it's nonsense about Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to Nintendo Switch. I mean, I know it's silly because I look at that and I read about it and I'm thinking this game requires you to always be online on the internet. So that removes the thing of, the portable aspect of it because you're not going to be able to play it. Unless you've got an internet connection.
That's a good point.
So there's that, which things mean it's very unlikely Microsoft's going to make an offline version just for the Switch. But also, from what I'm hearing about this, the graphical requirements of it are melting even the most, powerful PCs. And it runs like absolute trash on the Xbox Series X and S. So I don't see it coming to the Switch, even if it was a cut down version, because of the always on component and also just from the graphical aspects of it. I think it would just be too much. So that was a bit silly, I think. But what do you think about that?
It's a bit of a goofy bit of fun, I think, because like you said, it struggles on the latest gen consoles. On a decent PC, it can look quite good. And you have to also remember, well, first of all, let's talk about the portable aspect and always online. So first, I think that's a really good point. I didn't see that before, like anywhere where people are like, well, it's a Switch. It's a Switch 2, but it's still a Switch. Like you want it to be a portable console. And when you said that, it actually also made me think of potentially how good it would be if there was potentially a sim slot on a Switch so you could access data.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would like, now that you say it like that, I'm like thinking, yeah, that would be good. But obviously in the UK, our data is like utter.
Well, yeah, our infrastructure isn't the greatest to support that. But in other countries, say for example, like in Asian countries where they've got great infrastructure for 5G and 4G, that would make sense. And that would be a game changer in terms of, you know, being able to play your games on the go, but also your online games as well. So that's the thought.
It would be viable.
Yeah, but I think it's more cost with Nintendo. They'll be looking at. But then, you know, they could maybe release a 5G version of the Switch too. Who knows?
They and make it like an extra edition.
Yeah.
Why not? And then be like, look, if you don't care, you're fine. If you really do, then here you go.
Yeah.
And obviously,
charge a bit extra.
There's also the fact that, you know, if you live in a place that's really got good coverage, you could just make a hotspot off your phone and connect that way.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, for what's it? Flight Simulator. It's quite wishful thinking. There's basically no way it would look remotely good on the Switch 2 unless they really cut back. And also the big thing is on the portable aspect. They have like, you know how you can buy the whole like setup with like the with like the wheel and all the accessories. It's like, it just really would not fit a Switch, which is a very it doesn't fit.
I hear that. Sticking with Microsoft, what do you think about this rumors of Halo collection of some kind coming to the Switch? That one I can see, because, you know, people saying, oh, Microsoft's there, just put all its games on other platforms. They need to understand that decisions about Xbox are now being made at the top level above Phil Spencer, because they're saying, we just dropped 70 billion on Activision Blizzard, we need some recuperation on this, we need some return on investment. We're like, you know, their CEOs are like, why are you restricting your games to one platform? Release them everywhere, get as much money as possible. They're not looking into this console war BS, shall I say, that you know, a small minority of gamers are. They're looking at how much money can we bring in from these franchises that we now own. So I see a Halo of some kind coming to the Switch. That's a lot more plausible than Flight Simulator. But what do you think?
I don't really have anything to say other than I see it. It's like, you drop 70 billion, you don't do that just to have exclusives on what has been a quite poor console generation. In terms of sales, in terms of reception, reviews, everything. Like, you do that, you're gonna cast your net wide. And also, it's something where, like, they have a there's a vested interest in doing it. It's the Switch 2. Like, you really gonna act like after they drop Mario Kart 9 and 3D Mario and Pokemon in the same year on this new console, that it's not going to be bought by like tens of millions of people? Like,
exactly.
It's going to be a huge thing. I agree.
Yeah. Let's now talk about your one that you're looking forward to, but I still think just doesn't exist, which is Hollow Knight Silksong.
Silksong.
The mythical Silksong that does not exist.
It will come out this year, guys. Okay,
let's just play it in a realm of possibility. Say it comes out this year. Do you think it is a cross-gen release that's on Switch and Switch 2? Or do you think it's exclusive to Switch 2?
I mean, when, you know, it releases, I assume before the sun blows up, I think it will release so late that it probably will just go straight to Switch 2. But look, you could also quite easily raise the point that, given the nature of the game, the art style, the fact it's not photorealistic, you could argue it doesn't matter that much, because let's say you're the developers for Hollow Knight, right? Hollow Knight Silksong, and you're like, well, we developed like most of the game and it's ready for the Switch, but you know, like, I guess we want it on the Switch too. It's like, what are you really gonna do? Are you gonna like optimize it and make it super like fitting only for the Switch 2, or are you just gonna leave it because it's backwards compatible?
Yeah,
I think I don't know. It depends on what Nintendo's giving out as dev kits. I think it will be on both. It might not. It just depends when it comes out. If it comes out this year, it will be on both, guaranteed. It will be a Switch game. If it comes out next year, then it will probably be just a Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. What else? I think you're going to get a whole host of Atlus ports that we didn't get on the Switch. So stuff like Persona 3 Reloaded. You're going to get that. The recently released Metaphor game, I think, is going to come there. Was it ReFantasmia or something like that? I think it was called.
Yes. ReFantasio.
ReFantasio, yeah. So I think that's going to come there. Obviously, you've got all the previous Persona games that are on the Switch. They'll probably work through backwards compatibility. So I think we're going to get a whole bunch of any of the Persona games that didn't come on Switch will be ported to Switch 2, guaranteed, because that's just Atlus printing money on the table.
Yeah, it fits so well. It fits so well. It's like you said, it's a license to print money. Definitely agree.
Yeah. And I think any of those RPGs we mentioned any of the RPGs that didn't come to Switch because it was not powerful enough, I think will also be ported across as well. So I think we're going to see a flood of these RPGs, especially the Japanese ones, appearing on Switch. But I also think we'll get things that didn't come to Switch that would have been great on the Switch if it had more power, which are things like Tekken 8, I think, will come to Switch, because Bandai Namco has been fairly good with support on the Switch. Could have been better, but it's been fairly good. So I think we're going to get like Tekken 8's coming to the Switch, fighting games like that. Guilty Gear Strive is coming to the regular Switch, but I think we'll see some of the other fighting games and things like that didn't make it. They'll come over to the Switch. I think we're going to get a deluge of all the American sports games coming across, like the Maddens.
100%.
The American footballs.
100%.
We'll get more baseball games coming along. We'll get our regular staple of basketball games coming along as well.
Yep.
So EA is probably going to suddenly remember that there's a platform here that they can put all of those games to. I think we'll get all the Jedi games coming across. So Jedi Survivor, the latest one, and then I forget what the first one's called now. The first Jedi game, anyway, I forget what's called. And I just think we're going to get lots and lots of ports. But we'll get some of the new stuff as well, because I think obviously the AI upscaling will help. But I think third-party support for Switch this time, Switch 2, is going to be just ridiculous. I don't think the Japanese developers are going to allow themselves to get caught unawares this time. So we're going to see it like out of the gate, just boom, 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 boom. Switch 2 logos on everything. But yeah,
I think you left out one.
Did I miss something?
Very, very obvious one.
What have I missed out? Sparking Zero. I didn't mention it by name, but I fell under the fighting games. But that's a no-brainer. That's coming to Switch.
I think if you leave out Sparking Zero, it's like you have like some sort of deathly aversion to money.
Making money. Yeah, no, they'll definitely bring that across. That's guaranteed. I'm sure they are working on that as we speak.
Yeah, 100%.
I reckon that could be a launch one, actually, because they're working on DLC now, so they've probably more than got a build ready for Switch 2 that they can just say, okay, right, here you go. Sparking Zero on launch with the DLC.
I agree. I think it would be a huge misstep from Bamco if they didn't drop it at launch.
Yeah.
I also think that there's one other thing that I was thinking about when it came to the Switch 2 and third party titles, which is, we're talking about all these games that could show up, but it's like we are also assuming that these people have sense. And we've seen with Sony on their 1 millionth cancelled live service game at the cost of all those employees, at the cost of their shareholders, at the cost of pretty much everyone there.
Yeah.
The lunacy that can occur at some of these gaming companies.
True.
So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm hoping, as I said, the Japanese, especially Japanese publishers, are not caught unawares. and the American ones, like the EAs and stuff, who kind of were like dabbling their toes a little bit in Switch, but weren't really committing, and now going to be like, no, we're going all in because there's money on the table. The other one we didn't mention though is Ubisoft, which from what all the rumours we're hearing is they're going to be there although to be fair, Ubisoft actually been pretty good with the Switch, because obviously you had your staple Just Dance, which sells best on Switch.
Oh my god!
But yeah, exactly. But decent Assassin's Creed games, I think, are going to come there.
Agree.
Possibly that new one, which is supposed to come out, I think, March this year. I think they delayed. We'll double check it, but I think they delayed it until March, so that could technically come out as a launch title for Switch 2. But I think we're going to get a lot of
Assassin's Creed Shadow March 2020, March 20th, 2025.
So I think we're going to get a whole host of Assassin's Creed games on there, a whole host of any other Ubisoft games that skip the Switch. I think they're going to go out strong. So we'll probably get a Just Dance something or other on the Switch too, and then maybe something else that's there, because Ubisoft obviously are in a bit of trouble lately with their game release and money and all the rest of that. But yeah. Anything else third party that pops into your head that we might have missed? I'm sure there's loads we've missed, but that's sort of the stuff I'm thinking off the top of my head.
Here's one that is obvious now that we say it out loud: Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, but I don't know. I heard about them bringing a collection to it, but I'm just thinking, why don't you just enhance the existing games? But then again, if you get a chance to repackage and resell your games, then who's not going to take that chance? So it could easily be there, a double pack of the game. Yeah, okay.
You do raise the point that's it didn't come out so long ago. Like that they might need to repackage it. Maybe that's not necessary. Tom Clancy's The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Halo, Microsoft Flight. Yeah, alright. Sea of Thieves is, I believe, is that an indie game?
That's a Rare one. That's made by Rare, I think.
Rareware. Yeah. If it's
I could
Rare,
I could see that coming. I mean, there were rumors that was coming to the regular Switch, so I could easily see that coming, because I think Microsoft's definitely going to be bringing some heavy hitters to the Switch too. So yeah, I can see Sea of Thieves coming to the Switch.
Yeah. I think most of this other stuff, the Ori games, possible.
Yeah, again, I guess another collection. Again, we've got a collection on the Switch, so I guess they could do like an upscaled or 4K version or something maybe.
I think Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about any Square stuff.
Square's been left out.
All right, so let's talk about Square stuff then, since we kind of forgot about them.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about Capcom bringing all their stuff to Square has already turned around and said that, look, we made a mistake with this exclusive nonsense. Selling Final Fantasy 16 to a PlayStation user base and only selling 3-something million copies is not a sustainable business model at all. Selling Final Fantasy Rebirth to a PlayStation user base is not sustainable at all. So they're like, we are putting our stuff on everything going forward. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, I suspect will come to the Switch. Final Fantasy 16 possibly could come to Switch. Final Fantasy 14 multiplayer MMO could come to the Switch, because you've got mouse functionality now. Slapping a keyboard, you're good to go.
Why not?
So yeah, Square is going to be out there porting everything under the sun that didn't come to the Switch. That's not obviously the HD 2D stuff. So yeah, definitely,
fully agree.
Definitely, Square's going to be there since from day one, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally. I mean, sometimes you just want to like sit these people down and be like, "Do you actually like money?" Because if you do, there's this very fun, wacky idea I have that could maybe make you some money. Yeah, Call of Duty, I think.
Oh god, yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, yeah, that's your game. That's not my game. I haven't played a Call of Duty game since maybe the Wii, maybe around that era. So, but I know you play your Call of Duty. So, I mean, Microsoft's already said it's coming to the Switch, because they did doing a whole court case of Activision Blizzard. They said they signed a 10-year deal to bring Call of Duty in some form to Nintendo platforms. So, guaranteed there's probably going to be some collection at launch. But I mean, look, the more third-party games you get on the Switch, the better. The Switch 2, should I say? So, Microsoft, bring it all to the Switch 2.
Professor Layton.
Professor Layton. Yes, because Nintendo actually, that's going to be an exclusive, because Nintendo actually approached the company and said, we'd like you to make another one, and I think they're funding it as well, or partially funding it.
It's not actually said like point blank 100% that's happening. There's no news to say it's 100% happening. However, it's such a no-brainer. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked.
I think it, depending on when it comes out, if it comes out before the Switch 2 launches, or if they date it for that, then I suspect it will be on both platforms. If not, it will be Switch 2 exclusive, I think, which would be a good thing to get people to buy it, because if you're a Professor Layton fan, we haven't had a game in a while, so that would be a no-brainer to go and buy a Switch 2 to play the next Professor Layton game, so that's another good one.
Yeah.
Cool. Any others on our list there? Or?
There's Metal Gear. I think that's a very good idea. Yeah, it's like...
okay, so let's just talk about this one. Konami. Rumours of the Metal Gear Delta, I think it is. The remake of, I think, Metal Gear Snake Eater.
I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than if you like money, you'll do it. Like,
that's the running theme, isn't it? Like video game companies, if you like money, it's a good idea to bring your game to the Nintendo Switch 2, because there's a whole host of people who are going to buy. There's millions of people going to buy that in the first year, and you want your product in front of the potential millions and millions of customers that are going to buy the system. So yeah, if you like money, port your game to the Nintendo Switch 2. I think that's the general consensus for this year for third parties.
100%. It's just that simple.
I think we'll end it there then. If you're listening third parties, if you like money, port all your games to the Nintendo Switch 2 and you'll be raking it in. So cool, that will do it for today's video. Yeah, cool, blimey, that's been 30 minutes. Thank you for listening to us for 30 minutes if you stuck around to the end. We had a lot of fun recording this and discussing the various third-party games that we think might come to the Switch on launch or in 2025. So smash that like button, subscribe if you are somebody new. Check out our previous video talking about Nintendo Switch first-party games that we think might be there at launch or in 2025. What are some of your predictions for third-party games? We would love to know in the comment section below. Thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.